We care a lot about the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. You're listening to the Ruthless Politics podcast with
Kid Chronic
and Treez. This is episode number 4.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Wonderful. A lot of stress for my boy over here, but we're going to get through this. And sometimes, politics is stressful as well. So,
It's certainly a busy time in the news, that's for sure.
It's a very busy time. This is a huge news cycle. When is it not a huge news cycle?
Not in the Trump era.
Not in the Trump era.
Never in the Trump era.
No, for sure. We got a lot to go over. We're going to jump right in. But again, you listen to episode number 4. We're at the Space Coast Podcast Studios. You got Jesse Podcast on the ones and twos doing his thing here. And out of sunny Florida. Very hot, 95 degrees. And the alligators are out. You had a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
I watched the women's soccer game, which I think is where we're going to start off. So that was pretty awesome. I was happy to see them win.
You're very happy?
For them, it's 2 World Cups in a row and 4 total World Cup victories.
So what does that tell you? Does that tell you that they're that dominant, or does it tell you that they're also part of maybe a weak field? Does anybody pay attention to the status? Well, why don't we get into this? Because I have my opinion on this. I'm very happy that the women won. It is a victory no matter what. No matter they can only play who they have to play. I always hear this in sports. Well, you beat up on shitty teams in your division or whatever. Well, you can only play who they make you play. You know what I mean? And the object is to win. So
yes, and they were in the toughest bracket, so that's important.
That is true too. They were in a tough bracket. So. Why don't you tell us? You're very proud. Women's soccer goes ahead and wins.
Here's what I think is important to know about the women's soccer team, right? Is one, that they won with flair, that they won decisively. And I think it's a sign that not only are they better, and not only maybe is a competition a little bit weaker, but it's a sign that American society is better, that their freedom maybe makes them a little bit better. And so I think the U.S. soccer team embodies what's best of America. What's interesting about them too now, a few interesting things about the women's soccer team is that their collective bargaining agreement is up in 2021. Mm-hmm. So this little uproar and this success that they're having right now is coming at like the best possible time.
Sure.
And they have a lot of media attention. They're also winning more trophies than the men. On the same day that they won the World Cup, the men lost a regional to Mexico.
They did.
And now they're bringing in more money than the men. So what argument can U.S. soccer have not to pay them equally or more?
You can't make that argument anymore. And at the end of the day, so my opinion is I do feel they play inferior talent. And I do think that amongst they're giants amongst a lot of these countries or whatever. These women are very, very physically gifted, and God bless them. They work hard to do that. But you're right. The men, I actually looked this up yesterday. The men are currently ranked 30th in the world in FIFA. When they were last in the World Cup, and people may have forgotten, they missed the last World Cup to Panama. Of all countries, knocked them out in one of those smaller tournaments that kept them from even going to the World Cup. So keep that in mind. The men didn't even make the last World Cup. But when they performed really, really well, I think they were 16th in the world, which was like the highest they had ever been. It was a big, big deal, like where they were like, American soccer's finally taking its foothold. We're making it there, and they've fallen out. And all the big names that Alexi Lawless and Landon Donovan, all those guys, they're not on that team anymore. So it's a lot of names you're not familiar with. The women, without a doubt, deserve equal as far as USA team goes. There is one difference. They say they're generating more money. I didn't see the parameters of how that was determined, whatever. I do know that the purse for the Women's World Cup was like $40 million. And the men's is $300 million. So worldwide, there's a total different interest. Where I think the difference really is, and I'm not sure, and you may know this better than me, where these women are arguing also for equal pay, is in their club performances, in their private soccer world. I defy anybody first to name me 3 women's soccer player, 3 women that are on that team, like in 5 seconds, name me 3. But I would even defy anybody to tell me, name one club that any of those women are on. And they wouldn't be able to do it. And unfortunately, there's no interest, and therein lies sometimes the problem with money. It's a lack of interest,
when you
a lack
go
of
down
advertising
to the club
dollars.
level into those sports teams, they're privately held organizations, so it's hard when it's a privately held organization to force them to pay more.
This is true.
But for U.S. soccer, that's a little bit different. So I think that's where they definitely, when the new collective bargaining agreement goes down in 2021, they're going to come in with a lot of power, and they're going to get a lot of the things they want. And they made other good points too. The women's soccer game was on with 3 other championships the same day.
Right.
And the women are like, well, we're a pretty big show. Why aren't we the only championship? to say it's a World Cup.
It's a fair gripe.
Yeah.
The other sports play nice when it comes to that. You're not going to see something go. They don't put the World Series against the Super Bowl or what have you when these things are running. I know hockey and basketball can run concurrent, and they play cool with each other. So yeah, without a doubt, I think the women have proven they should get equal pay when it comes to the world market. As far as club goes, they're not going to see any Ronaldo.
Do you know who else the other big winner is?
Who's that?
Nike. Nike is all over them. They have checks all over them, commercials coming out all the time. Right after they won the game, they had a great commercial that came out, and Nike's stock is soaring.
There's no doubt that Nike is considered a woke company, and they did not go woke, go broke. And Nike will always make money. I don't think it's a surprise that Nike is a premier athletic shoe apparel company. They're always going to make money. They're the biggest and baddest. They've always been since the Jordan era. So, yeah, they've gotten very woke with the Kaepernick thing and the women's soccer thing and this and that. And,
they're aggressive. Their marketing is aggressive in the sort of political theater, but somehow they've navigated it pretty well.
Yeah, they always have been. All right, so I guess we kind of agree on that. Give the women their money. Listen, they are running circles around the men as far as what their competition,
Yeah, I thought this was America. We pay the winners here. Winners get paid.
But I do believe that
capitalism.
Listen, the Patriots, the dynasty of what the Patriots are doing against that NFL is very impressive because ask Dan Marino, man, it's hard to get to the fucking Super Bowl. What I'm watching the women do, I feel like they're beating up on inferior talent, but that's who they're supposed to play. They can only do what they got to do. So you can't
college football. Go to college football if you want to see people beat up on inferior talent.
This is true.
Happens every weekend.
Happens every weekend. All right.